This is likely the end of all Ma and Pa Rolex ADs. They simply can't afford to keep taking all this stock if nobody can afford to buy them. Hello and welcome back to the channel. It is a very bad day if you're a Rolex watch collector living in America.
If you look at Switzerland, 61% to 31%.
Or is it? It's not, guys. Brenny has an idea that you're going to love. And if you stick with me, you will get a free holiday out of watching this video. Let me explain. Trump's new tariffs went live. How does that affect a Rolex watch collector buying directly from an AD? It is catastrophic. 32% import duty if you want to buy a Rolex, 32% plus an 8% tax if you're living in, let's say, New York. Let's break this down in money terms. Let's say you want to buy a $10,000 Rolex from an AD with the import duty. It's now going to be $13,200. Add sales tax of $1,056. That brings this watch up to a considerably high $14,256, which is $3,500 more than you would have paid pre-tariffs. Another way to calculate it is every $1,000 that you spend on a Rolex now costs you $345 more. I know, shocking. But let's face it, most Rolexes are in the 20k mark, 30k mark, 40k mark, 50k mark, and the numbers are even more scary when you look at those increases. Starting with the 20k, it is 7k more. If you were looking to buy a 30k Rolex pre-tariffs, it's now 10,000 more. $10,368 more. If you're buying a 40k Rolex from an AED, it's now $14,000 more overnight. 14 grand more. And for giggles, let's pretend you had the money to buy a £50,000 gold Rolex from an authorized dealer in, let's say, New York. You now have to come up with $67,280. People are saying that what Rolex will do is redirect the watches. They won't, guys. They are two separate entities. Rolex USA, Rolex UK, Rolex Europe. The Rolexes for 2025 have already been allocated. Those watches are going to American ADs, whether they want them or not. They simply will not be sent anywhere else but to the American ADs. All Rolex ADs sign contracts. Those contracts are very simple. They get an allocation and they have to pay for it on the spot. Some of them pay in advance, others pay on delivery. They have an idea each year what they're getting, but on every delivery, they do not know till the last minute. If Rolex chooses to send them £1 million worth of gold Rolexes, that's what you're getting. Rolex decides what you get and when. If they decide to send you an entire batch of all gold Rolexes, you are stuffed. You have to accept delivery and you have to pay for the goods on delivery. This is likely the end of all Ma and Pa Rolex ADs. They simply can't afford to keep taking all this stock if nobody can afford to buy them. Larger companies will suffer, but they should have enough money in the reserves to weather the storm. Will this kill the secondary watch market? That remains to be seen. It's just too early to know. Flippers who are buying watches on spec to flip at a profit are going to have to be extremely careful now. Trump wakes up one morning, decides he likes Switzerland now, and he decides to reduce their tariff to 10%. That is going to leave you holding the baby. Based on what's happening, the volatility in the market, most grey market dealers are likely to turn down a watch from a Rolex AD for at least the foreseeable future until the market settles, for the very same reason. They don't want to buy a load of stock at the 32% increase price and then overnight becomes 10% increase, which means that 22% is a dead loss for a grey market dealer, and no grey market dealer is going to want to take that risk. Dealers will simply refuse to buy the watches. Only option available for flippers will be to give those watches to grey market dealers on consignment, and we all know how that's going to end, don't we, guys? Collectors are also going to have to think very carefully before buying a Rolex at 32% more than it used to be a week ago. As it's not an essential item, a lot of collectors are going to pass. They simply are. They're not going to pay that additional cost immediately. They are not going to pay that initial cost. Not at first. Eventually, when they realize it's not going away, it's part of the daily norm, they will then settle and they will start buying again. But as I said, a lot of the smaller ma and pa's will have probably gone bust by then. However, there's a silver cloud. There is. Say you live in New York and you jump on a plane to Manchester. The cost of that flight is £1,100. Currently in the United Kingdom, you can walk in and buy a root beer from any authorized dealer with almost no wait list. The current MSRP in the United Kingdom for a root beer is £15,450. That's a £5,347 saving on the same watch if you were to buy it in New York. Let's pretend you're a serious watch collector and you didn't want to come to the United Kingdom to socialize, and you did a stopover flight. You head straight back to the airport. You have saved a whopping £4,217 by simply getting on a plane, flying to the United Kingdom, picking up a watch, getting back on the plane, going back to New York. How simple could that be? Let's say you're a subscriber and you reached out to Brenny and said, "Hey Brenny, I'm coming to the United Kingdom to pick up a watch. I could have met you for a coffee." You never know. Reach out to Brenny if you're thinking of coming to the United Kingdom. Let's pretend you decided, you know what, I'm going to have the holiday of a lifetime in the United Kingdom. You could do that. Fly into the United Kingdom, pick up your new root beer, and then you still have £4,247 left to spend on a kick-ass vacation in the United Kingdom. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I will catch you on the next Brenny video.